Hello everyone and welcome back to another video on Dragon Ball Z Dokkan Battle, and in today's video I want to go over the Extreme Z Awakening details on the Ginyu Force. There is the Dokkan Fest exclusive AGL Captain Ginyu that transforms into Goku Ginyu, and there is the RECOOME GULDO and the BURTER and JEICE, or I like to call and JEICE. Yes. And I want to go over their details here with you guys, comparing them side by side to what they are currently and what they will be after Extreme Z Awakening. Disclaimer, my AGL Ginyu is very underwhelming. He's 55%. And so I need to see how he will actually be post EZA. But from what I saw of the details, which I'm not going to spoil anything, it seems to be a solid EZA. Okay? We'll start with RECOOME GULDO, who is already up on the screen. The leader skill is going to go to 150%, which is very good. I'm going to do the super attack first because it's just simpler for me from the game. Raises attack and defense for 1 turn. Greatly raises attack and defense for 1 turn. Causes supreme damage to the enemy and greatly lowers attack and defense. Yep. The only thing that's changed on the super attack is greatly raises attack and defense. That's mediocre to me, unfortunately. But then again, this is just a regular banner unit. There isn't much to go with. Okay, now time to compare side by side. So we have, okay, 180% attack and defense goes to 200% attack and defense. That is significant. High chance of guarding all attacks becomes a great chance. So it's went from 50% to 70%. Seals the attacked enemy super attack is still there and gets 30% damage reduction. That's really good. That is already really, really good. Okay. After guard is activated, current is 50% more defense. Post EZA will be 100% defense. And launches an additional attack that has a high chance of becoming a super attack. So 50% chance to do another super attack, but a guaranteed additional attack. For every attack received up to 50%, 10% attack and defense. There's an additional line here, which is when attacking with 12 or more ki, attack and defense plus 50%. So we're back to the old meta where you have to attack a certain amount of ki before you can get your defense. And then for every attack received goes to 20% up to 100%. So that gets doubled. That's actually really significant there. That is really significant. When there's an ally that includes Ginyu attacking in the same turn, guards all attacks and a high chance of stunning the attacked enemy. Currently, guards all attacks, gets 30% damage reduction before attacking, and stuns guaranteed. So far, so good. That is rather solid. A little disappointed about the super attack, but overall, a rather solid EZA. Okay, on to the BURTER and JEICE. The same thing happens here. Let's hop in here. It goes to 150%, so another 20% of stats. Okay, and raises attack and defense for 1 turn, causes supreme damage to the enemy, now becomes a support of 20% attack and defense for 1 turn. Kind of like the Super Vegito. Okay, and now here's where things change. The most. Used to be, it's a 150% attack and defense, goes to 200% attack and defense. That's a bigger jump than RECOOME and GULDO. Medium chance to launch, of launching an additional super attack. Now launches an additional attack that has a high chance of becoming a super attack. So that's a 50% chance instead of a 30% chance. He goes from having 50% chance to evade to 70% chance to evade. And he goes from key 3 and 30% attack and defense to key 3 and 40% attack and defense. That's not a big jump, not that significant there, but him going from 150%, this unit going from 150% to 200% is already significant. Unfortunately, a lot of fights these days have 0 dodge allowed. Not to mention that they hit rather hard. That they hit rather hard yet. So even if a normal gets tacked on, it will do some damage. For every attack performed, 10% attack and defense up to 50%. This time it's 50% attack and defense up to 200%. That is very, very much a big jump. When receiving a super attack, chance of evading enemies' attacks plus 10% temporarily. So he goes from 70% to 80%. And that is an additional line in the passive. And then it goes from when there is an ally whose name includes Ginyu attacking, being a 30% support buff to everyone, gets another 10% chance to dodge within the turn before receiving an attack, so 90% chance to evade, and 30% attack and defense for 2 turns. It's not just that turn of a buff, it's for both turns. That is very, very big support. Overall, I do like this unit better than the RECOOME and GULDO. I do. It's a huge, significant jump in stats. There is also that support for 2 turns, which is very, very significant. And then we go on to the AGL Ginyu. As we know, the 200% leads get key +1 for the secondary category or categories. They don't get any buff aside from that in the leader skill. Okay? Now this is where I had noticed things. This could be a typo. I don't know. This could very, very well be a typo. Okay? As you can see, raises defense and causes immense damage to the enemy. He's a stacking defense unit. What did this super attack change to? Raises the attack for 1 turn. That's it. That is so insignificant, it makes me wonder if this is a typo. For sure, this makes me wonder if this is a typo. On to the passive. 180% attack and defense goes to 200% attack and defense. It launches an additional attack that has 30% chance to become a super attack, and now has a 50% chance to become a super attack. After EZA gets 20% damage reduction rate. And the support buff, Ginyu Force category allies attack and defense of 30%. Ginyu Force category allies keep +1 attack and defense plus 60% and chance of performing your critical hit of 20%. Great! Your tank just became a sport. Yep, tank just became a sport. When attacking with 12 or more ki, it used to be, before EZA, used to be, but it's going to be. As it is now before EZA, it's just 50% attack, gets 150% attack and defense when attacking. Again, I don't like the way that kind of passive works. It means you can't put them in, can't let them tank in slot 1 before they attack. They get sealed, they never get that defense. 50% attack and defense per Ginyu Force category ally on the team. At 10% increments, up to 50%. Sorry about the wording here. It goes to attack and defense of 20% up to 100%. When there's another Ginyu Force category ally on the team, attacks are effective against all types. Now it has an additional one where it has a 50% chance of an additional super attack. So if it does proc that, it will be a super attack, not a normal attack. It's guaranteed super if it does proc. And then for 1 turn from the character's entry turn, or when HP is 70% or more at the start of turn, so that could be technically the entire fight, chance of performing a critical hit and damage reduction rate of 30%. Okay? That is huge. That is huge. The one thing you want in this unit is additional. 100% you want additionals. Stacking unit on the super attack, you want additions, right? Now he's got an extra crit, and he doesn't, and he won't, and you won't need to use his hidden potential system for it. Overall, very solid. Very much not a fan of what they did with the super attack. The leader skill, I already knew what was going to happen with it. But the super attack, I really think is a typo. Okay. On to the body change. Raises attack got changed to greatly raises attack. Plain and simple. That's okay. It's nothing significant. But remember, Super EZA'S mean that the passive is the only thing that gets changed, not the leader skill or the super attack. Okay, let's see what changes here. It covers 59% HP is the same. Attack and defense of 200% changes to ki +1 and attack and defense of 250%. Launches an additional attack that has 30% chance of becoming a super attack. Now has a 70% chance to become a super attack. Attacks effective against all types. This is entirely post EZA. This has nothing to do with the units as it is now. And 50% damage reduction. Okay. No more is there that one turn from the character's entry turn of attacks effective against all types. It is now permanent, which is a slight mistake on my part that there's nothing from the current kit to it. Now it's no longer having to attack after EZA. Before EZA, 50% attack when attacking with 12 or more ki. When attacking, he's got 150% attack, chance of performing a critical hit of 50%, and a 70% chance of launching an additional super attack. Now, this is where it deviates entirely of where it started with the attacking. Now it says, so before, for every attack performed, 10% attack and defense up to 50%, and a chance of performing critical hit and chance of evading enemy's attack of 10% up to 50%. They simply removed that necessity to perform it. Gave an additional 50% attack, 100% defense, and just straight up gave 50% chance to dodge when receiving an attack. So defense plus 150 and chance of evading an attack of 50%. That is the highlight of this character, in my opinion. When they differentiate the defense to when receiving the attack and the attack to when attacking, that doesn't literally cut the unit's potential in half for no reason. And the very last part here is that when there's an ally whose name includes JEICE on the team, high chance of foreseeing enemy super attack, it becomes now a permanent chance for the super attack. To see, it's not a permanent permanent chance. It's not a chance. He automatically will see that where the super attack is located, or in some cases now, super attacks. Thank you all for coming to watch the video. Please subscribe if you haven't yet. Please let me know your thoughts down below on these EZA'S, what your thoughts are about them. Again, my disclaimer, my Ginyu is 55%. He's always been underwhelming to me. And again, I don't think that super attack is entirely correct. But we'll have to see. Thank you all for watching the video. Please leave a like if you enjoyed. Comment. Please do comment. Let me know your thoughts on these units. And hopefully I'll see you all in the next video.